welcome back. We're going to take a look at the 255 and the horses that are still in it. One of them actually won last week. It's ahead of the market.
Yours?
It was my one, yeah. I don't fancy this week, mind you, but let's talk about Alba Shara.
Yeah, it was your selection last week. I got this horse wrong, actually. I sat here last Saturday and was rather questioning his resolution in the finish, but that was completely unfounded. Got that wrong. Got it done in real good style, but this, even though it's got to be said for a Group 1 level Fillies and Mares, it wouldn't be the greatest one we've had, but still, I just feel she's going to fall a little bit short, and plus, it's got to be concerned that 7 days, coming now into Group 1, coming into a race like this.
What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I backed her at Yarmouth, followed her up because I thought she didn't get a clear run, wasn't necessarily tuned up for that run. Backed her again at Newmarket. I mean, the thing you notice is she's very headstrong. She does tend to pull a bit, and I know the jockey's saddle slipped slightly, which meant he went forward a bit quicker than he intended to. But I would be a bit concerned whether or not she'll truly get the trip. It's obviously stepping up in trip, another couple of furlongs, and her breeding as well suggests that she may not stay. I mean, most of her kind of sire side and dam side are kind of 7 furlong to 8 furlong horses. I can't really see where the stamina's going to come from, especially in that ground. I mean, we were discussing the pace angle. I mean, we're not quite sure where the front runners are going to come from, and it could be a question that they send her forward again. And if they do, and the jockey's able to dictate, set a steady gallop, if she can last home and handles the ground, then she may be right
she's
there
massive,
at the finish.
isn't she? Yeah. I mean, I think there must a slight injury occurred at York. The one I like in this is Silk Sari, is that right?
Yep.
Silk Sari. Got strong form.
Classic Kumani project with a filly, stepping her up in trip slowly. I mean, absolutely decimated the field last time out, pulling carts. Nothing got near. I mean, she's actually taking a step back in trip here, I believe, by a couple of furlongs. The slight concern, or always the question mark when you're looking for a horse's form, when you know the ground's going to be as testing as it is, do they have proven form on the ground? With her, not so much, but she's out of Dalakani, and I did check through his form, and he won many races on heavy and soft ground, so you would like to think it won't be a problem.
So we're encouraged with that one.
And the fact she gets further, the stamina isn't going to be a problem, and it could be an absolute slog.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
and I think that Doncaster race wasn't a bad race, was it? And quick and clear.
And she's still improving.
Yeah. Do you like Cubanita?
Yeah, I wasn't putting you away earlier. I do. Yeah. I know I do like Cubanita, and I always have really, but especially under conditions likely to be soft. I mean, if it turned out to be heavy. I mean, we're sat here now, and obviously the description of the ground at Ascot is heavy. I think we've got to be a little bit careful to just keep on assuming that we're going to have heavy ground Saturday.
It does drain very well there. It does.
It does. So let's keep our fingers crossed and that it might. But for Cubanita, I wouldn't mind if it was. I say this isn't a great Group 1 for Fillies and Mares. That must be said. And I think she comes in. She's got an official mark of 109. I think she's better than that. Seen last time at Newbury behind Hillstar that day, and takes on Tapper's Day again in this race for a length and a quarter beating, and actually gave
reverse the form of the weight.
Yeah, we got £3 for that length and a quarter. I just got the feeling in the closing stages, Cubanita was just getting going and making inroads from the furlong pole to the line. So
I'm right in saying there was a gap between races as well. That was the first time Cubanita was back for a while. So
since Haydock, I actually
look back through the collateral form.
Through the collateral form, and I was slightly concerned for the absence, but I did tweet Mr. Beckett very kindly got back to me and said that no, it was simply they didn't have the ground. They'd been good to firm ground, so there was no problem with the absence. I mean, we go back through some of the again back to that collateral form in April in Newbury. Let's not forget Cubanita beat Noble Mission that day. It was actually on good ground and showed that day. It never showed much of a turn of foot, but that day it did. I'm
not too sure though. Tazaday's obviously in this race as well. Tazaday finished third in the Oaks behind Tagruda and Tapestry, and I expected her to beat Hillstar last time, and there wasn't much left.
I did. I bet. Yeah, I did.
There was no excuses to get beat by Hillstar.
No, I'm not. I'm not sure how resolute the horse is. It must be said, I did fancy a bit of Hillstar, because I had Hillstar as being a horse a bit of a nearly horse, because it just wasn't winning. So second, but it was really was a big drop in class.
I mean, I'm a punter, and I rarely bet on horses who aren't proven in the conditions, unless the price is really tempting. I like a horse to be proven at the distance, and for me, a few of these, there's quite a few in here that look like 10 furlong horses, and you do really have a doubt over the stamina, and you've got to take that into consideration. I mean, I'm with you with Cubanita. I mean, one thing I put down was looks like a possible just a Group 3 animal. That may be her ceiling, but this could be a Group 3 race.
Yeah, that's what I think.
There's I think there's only one proven Group 1 performer in the field with Chiquita, and that was from a 3-year-old days.
And what do we think about Chiquita? £6 million running on every race, may not be the finished article. Can we make a case for...
Not off this last run, I couldn't, could you?
No. I mean, the price is going to be quite skinny.
Yeah.
And you've got to factor that into consideration. Yeah. I just think it's worth taking on, given the form.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one, you've got James Fanshaw's seal of approval, obviously won the race last year.
But
has this been
long way to find with Silk's Army.
Yes, but I'm always interested in horses that have won the race the year before, and you have to think, is this the plan? Are they tuned up? And yes, you look at the market, and actually seal of approval has been backed the last few runs, which makes you think she's been running on her merits. But in the back of your mind, you think she may have been wound up for this, and this may be the target, or she just, she was beaten a long way, and you would have to go some way to think she's going to overturn that form.
Yeah, you would. I could not have run well. I remember when she ran in the Yorkshire Oaks, and she didn't want to know at all whether she was tuned or not. The jockey was doing more work. For me, she's an absolute rogue. I couldn't have her at all.
You wouldn't back her ahead of Silksari.
No,
actually, I don't think. I'm not sure. And people on Twitter can tweet if they can make a case why you think she could overturn the form and tweet in. But I don't think.
No. I could never back the horse if this was a listed race. I couldn't be getting involved.
What about Arthur?
She's.
Well, you have to, tied in with Alba Shara, based on that Yarmouth running, she's still improving, she's still open to bags of improvement. Again, with all of these, you have a ground question, just because, a lot of them are unproven. She did come, from a long way back at Longchamp, maybe didn't get the best of ride, got trapped a bit far back. But again, if you're making a case for Alba Shara, you're equally entitled to make a case for Dartha, and I wouldn't put anyone off.
I think with Alba Shara, maybe that was one run after the incident at York, and I can't see how I think it will overturn that form personally.
Yeah.
Considering it won so well last week. There are others in the race. Is there anything else worth mentioning? I mean, Pollyanna tripped too far, I guess. And
well, Madam Chang's interesting at a price. This, 16 to 1, 20 to 1 automatically grabs your attention when you're looking through. I mean, I think this is only going to be her 5th or 6th run. Very lightly raced. Obviously didn't do very well in the Oaks, but she won the Musadora Stakes up at York.
Yeah, it was true.
Won that well under Kieran Fallon, the kind of typical Fallon drive. The one concern there was the trainer form, and David Simcock is 0 from 36 in the last 2 weeks. I put a lot of value on such things. I think it indicates the stable's a bit cold. But she is open to any amount of improvement, and if there was something wrong and they get her right, given that it's only her 5th or 6th start, then 16 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, when she won that race, you talk about at York. I had a good look at her in the Oaks, because I was quite impressed that day at York. But I mean, the wheels are completely falling off her, and I just couldn't be. In those 2 runs, I've watched.
Do you take Josh's advice on stats? Do you look at the stats?
No, I'm not. We've spoke about this. Quite interesting. I mean, there's been no fisticuffs at the moment.
Yeah.
But completely different approach.
Completely different approach, but a good friend of mine, he's got a completely different approach to racing than me. I'm obviously at ratings, he looks at different things, but it's uncanny the amount of times we come up with the same horse, but we've come up from different angles. I mean, what we spoke about often with ground and the class require, I agree with that, but these strict stats, it's not the way, but it clearly works for you as my ratings work for me, and that's what makes our sport so great.
Yeah, there's one more horse worth mentioning, Vote Often, who was last seen finishing third in the Irish 1,000 Guineas behind Marvellous. Don't think it's good enough form for this, but at the same time the horse is fresh and the ground will suit.
It is, and the step up in trip is just interesting. It's a massive step up. I think it's from 8 furlongs up to now a mile and a half.
Yeah.
140 days off the track. 146 days off the track. You have to weigh up whether you think that's a concern
well, whether
or
the
not.
horse will actually run.
Yeah, or whether the horse will run.
I think she'd be a bit overphased by this.
Yeah.
I think she's got a good stone to find.
Okay.
But
Nice.
I must say, I mentioned QIPCO then. I mean, really strong. I mean, at the moment, if you get no bet, I mean, you can get about 8 to 1, I believe, at the moment. I couldn't see this out of the 3. I'll be very interested. And on Saturday, if it comes up heavy, you want to have some more on.
Yeah, and I think between now and Saturday, we're in a couple more non-runners. Yeah. I mean, with Al Bashara, I mean, it's a week ago. There was talk afterwards of the horse going to France, and suddenly she's in this race here. It'd be interesting to see.
Given Bin Sawal's record in the race she won at Newmarket, you would think that was the target. He said she wasn't actually fully tuned up for the Yarmouth run, which is first run for a while, so maybe that was her race, and they're going to...
Okay, well, for what it's worth, I'm going for Silk Sari. Yeah. That's my selection, Silk Sari.
QIPCO.
And Kiss of Death for Silk Sari, I think we'll have to side with the Kumani horse.
Right, okay. Let's get over to Twitter Corner, see what the reaction is in relation to this race or indeed Champions Day.
Thanks, Pete. People seem to be agreeing with you, actually. There's a lot of support for Silk Sari on Twitter. A couple of people saying Night of Thunder, G-Force as well. No one actually making any bold statements. Everyone just saying they'd bet each way on Silk Sari and Night of Thunder. We've got Jamie Brownlow who says... for the Champions Sprint, he's going G-Force and Lightning Moon, and for the Champions Long Distance, Big Orange and Leading Light. There seems to be a lot of support as well for Cirrus de Zegler, people saying that if he does win the Champions Stakes, it would actually restore the meeting's credibility. And we've got Mark Rook here who simply says that picking a winner on Saturday should be easy. There are hardly any horses left in it.
Oh, straight and honest. Right, we're going to take a very short break, and then afterwards we're going to be speaking about the QE2. This is a fascinating race. See you after this.